Well, this is familiar. I do this all the time. Hi.
Second speech, no.
Yes. Unaccustomed as I am to public speaking. No one has a question. Thank you very much.
When you were given the challenge of carrying this into the stage musical, what was the biggest challenge that you felt you needed to overcome in putting it on the stage?
Well, I think that what turned out perhaps as Lindsay Mendez said, what started out as a challenge became an asset, which was that it did not seem like it was a traditional subject matter, or that it was a traditional execution of what we think of as an American musical, and that turned out to be something that was very pleasurable to work on. To work with, or to play against, that there were we could explore that there were all kinds of musicals, and there were all kinds of energies and all kinds of sounds, and there was room for all of them. I wish I'd started that sentence differently, but there it is. Yeah, that it wasn't ever going to let itself be made into a very raucous musical, that it needed to be quiet, and that we had to find our way to owning that and making it an asset of virtue. Hi. Thank you. Ideally, yeah. 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 That there are all kinds of channels between the audience and the stage. My effort was the idea was not to present something dull to the audience, but to perhaps have a different communication between the stage and them, and that it might be a way to kind of pull the audience to lean forward a little bit, as opposed to receive. It's one of the things I think sometimes an audience wants when they go to a show. I know I do. I want an enormous amount of energy and ideas to come and be, and sometimes I want something different. So I think in that show we were experimenting with how we could have a different channel between the audience and the stage, particularly on Broadway, which has its challenge. Well, it has its challenges. Yes. I'm so sorry. Say it again. What did I learn while directing this play? I learned an enormous amount. I shared, I'm proud to say, an enormous amount of information between, say, David Yazbek and myself that had to do with broadening my ideas of what an audience deserves, needs, how their attention needs to be attended to, in that I normally direct plays. So, I mean, I have directed musicals, and I guess I just directed this one, but I normally directed plays, and so learning from two great writers, David and Idemar, how else to talk to an audience. Thank you.
Some people might not know that the band's visit is based on this delightful movie, this obscure movie.
Yeah.
So how did it come to you?
It was through friends, in a way. I had worked with Idemar Moses on a play of his called Celebrity Row about 8 or 9 years ago. And I had also worked at the Atlantic Theater Company on a play, and when the position of director for the band's visit came up, I don't know what happened. I got a call from Idemar sort of saying, we might need a director and they might be calling you, and so he gave me a little bit of a heads up, and that was at a time when I was a little burned out and a little. It was difficult for me to get find a lot of passion and enthusiasm for material, and then I just had this outsized reaction to this, which was I wanted it very badly, and then I suddenly, you know, it's hard to want something again because your heart might get broken, but I just fought for it very hard. See, they asked and I begged, and they asked if I was interested, and then I begged. I'm not sure if that's the way that's supposed to go, but that's the way it went. I had not seen the movie. No. And now, I mean, we've had a great collaboration with Iran Kolaran, who made the film. He's here tonight, yeah, I've come to love it very, very deeply.
Congratulations.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Where do I go? That way? Okay.